adding 1.5 as superintendent updates to our agenda, August 7, 2019 work session.
May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded. Dr. Rock, can you please call a roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, vote passes 3-0. Next on the agenda is item 1.4, public participation. Dr. Rock, do you have any cards?
There are no cards.
If there's no cards, then we're going to move to item 1.5, superintendent's update.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. First, I would first like to recognize our new buildings and grounds supervisor, Mr. Lester McDonald. Please raise his hand. I just want to say he jumped in, 100% jumped in. He's doing an outstanding job, and we're very happy to have him on our team. Lester, would you like to say any words, anything? Are you good?
Well, I'm just excited in my position.
Excuse me 1 second. We've also been told that people can't hear when
Come to
folks
the mic.
speak, so if you can please come to the mic, Mr. McDonald.
Excuse me. Yeah, I just want to say I'm excited for the challenging position that I have. I'm totally vested into the community and the district, and I mean it's all about the kids. So that's what drives me, and taking care of my family. That's what drives me to do the job that I do.
Thank you. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lester.
All right, at this time, I'd like to review the data. The data is official. I mean, it's not official to September 30th, but at this point, it will not change. So I wanted the board to be aware of where we are in the various different areas. So reviewing our progress, we're looking at the proficiency over time, improvement graduation rate, gap closing, how we compare to state average, and the performance index. Actually, Jonathan, I'm gonna send you something else because this doesn't have all the slides I need on here.
Thanks.
So this is the performance index over time for each school. As you can see, each school is trending up. You can see that Westwood went from an 85 last year to a 91 performance index. Eastwood went from a low as 50 to all the way there up to 77.9, almost 27%, 27-point increase. The high school, as you can see, is steady growing. They went from 52, they're 61.7. And you see the middle school is at a steady pace. They're moving up. They went up like 1.5 points. And also the district, we went from 52.8 to this year we're at 67.9. And this is the district, so we went from 52.8 performance index that year. We needed to 60. We're at 59, and then we've gone from that year 59 to always 67.9. Now, in order for us to get a D on the report card for achievement, we needed a 66. So as you can see, we eclipsed that 66, and we're at 67.9. So for the achievement measure, we improved from an F to a D. The improving our average readers, when we first came, we were at 12.3, which was an F. We've grown all the way to 57.1%, which is a B, which is tremendous increase over this period of time. 4-year graduation rate, you can see when we first came, we were at 67.6. We were at 65.2 my first year here, and we've grown all the way up to 86%, so that's a 21% increase in graduation rate. I think there's nothing in the state of Ohio that compares to the movement we've made. So the data, and I'm gonna have Jonathan put this up, the data highlights, but our third grade increased by 10%, 10.1%. Our fourth grade math increased by 17%. Our ELA in fourth grade did the best in the entire district. They increased by 17.5%. Eighth grade math by 7.2%. ELA at the high school by 13.6%. U.S. history at the high school, 35.3%. So we received the indicator this year, which is the end of the test exam, we needed 25% of the kids to pass. We eclipsed that. And then we met our chronic absentee indicator. So our challenges, and I'm gonna send Jonathan, I won't go over the overall data. Our challenges is that our math only increased by 4.5%, but we had negative growth in algebra. That was high school algebra, which we have to look at, and 6th grade. Also, our science went down in 5th and 8th grade. Both grades, they went down. And then in our gap closing, that's closing achievement gap, our special needs students in math and graduation rate decreased. So on our report card, what we'll see this year, what we anticipate is a D to a C on the graduation rate. We know we gonna get that. Our gap closing, we had a B last year. We anticipate we're gonna get a B again this year. Our improving the K3 readers, we're gonna go from a C to a B. Our achievement, which was F last year because we didn't get to 66, we're gonna go from an F to a D. And then John Dewey is gonna go from an F to an A. We anticipate an F to an A. And then we anticipate Westwood is gonna go from a C to a B. And Eastwood, we're pretty sure should be a solid C. We anticipate. On this assignment. So I'm gonna say, Jonathan, let me see this other document real quick.
So while he's sitting the document, I know it's kind of hard to sit still. This is exciting. Just major kudos to you and your team. We are a Cinderella story. We are a Renaissance. We are the Phoenix Rising. This is really, really exciting, and
I didn't hear you, and you what? Oh, please don't. Yeah, don't do that.
This is amazing. I don't know if you guys understand.
Well, it's a testimony to the teachers. I mean, the teachers are doing an outstanding job.
Yep.
They've all bought into one team, one vision, one goal. A testament to the leadership of Pam Barnes, who is the leader, who has been very supportive of all the initiatives and things. You know, sometimes we don't see eye to eye on some things, but she's been a consistent force on doing what's right for the kid, district, and the students. So when we talk about relationship between the union and the school board, I would say, Pam, we had a very comfortable and high level of collaboration. We call it talking, so forth. So, yeah. So I just want to go through each grade level so people can see. Jonathan, we're gonna go to the growth one, average growth. Well, no, you stay on that one because that'll show. And if you can make it a little bigger, and we just do it by section, I guess. Yep, So we start off with math. We go to the math. So as you can see with the math, we started at 3rd grade at 20% in 16. We all the way up to 70.5%. So only 20% of our 3rd graders passed in 16. Now 70.5% of them passing math. That's a testimony to that 3rd grade team, Mr. Vine, the hard work that they're doing. Now the 90% you see is at Eastwood. So since we've been here, we formed a gifted class. So we have a gifted group of 3rd graders, and 90% of those 3rd graders pass the test. So that's we have a gifted program. So those kids are doing outstanding. And I'm sorry, but you add Westwood is at 68.6. So the gifted is into that total of 70.5. As you can see in 4th grade, we went from 30.3% all the way to 73.5 over this period of time since we've been in the district. 5th grade went from 7% all the way to 40.9%. So you see the tremendous growth in the staff and what the teachers are doing and the leaders and principals. Middle school, 6th grade, you see is improving steadily. I mean, we're working with 6th grade, but they're staying steady and they're getting better. 7th grade, again, they improved from last year. So that's what we're looking at, and 8th grade improved from last year. Algebra is a concern for us, as I stated earlier, as a challenge. We're better than we were, but we're not close to where we should be. So we have a lot of work to do. Our middle school, we started offering middle school algebra, as you can see, the first group did 60%. This is part of like the gifted program also. These kids are getting college credits. I mean, not college credits, but they're getting high school credit in middle school. Went from 60% and then last year half the class passed. And you see the high school algebra is concerned, only 12.7 of them passed. The geometry, we're working on it, is moving up steadily. So it went from it dropped in 17. And a lot of this is consistency in who teaches the classes. And we've made some changes in 7th and 8th grade. We have Pam doing, she was doing some intervention last year. So we're trying to add some layers to the Ela because those kids that got the 7.8 are the ones that's in 7th and 8th grade now. So those are the same kids who have some deficiencies that we got to try to catch up. So part of Pam's job has been to try to catch them up.
So are we offering any tutoring up in here?
Yeah, so her class is intervention.
Okay.
And then we have math tutors. So this year we're going to have math tutors at the middle school and high school. So we'll be coming to the board for those tutors because we need extra intervention to catch the young people up.
Oh, okay.
All right, Jonathan, move down to ELA. Like, as you can see in reading, that gifted class is steady 90%. But we went from 20% all the way to 67%. So it's almost 40% increase. In reading, you look at 4th grade reading, tremendous increase from 20%. We started to 52. You look at 5th grade, tremendous increase from 24 to 48. 6th grade, and you see the increase from last year to this year. But again, that's the transition from Eastwood to the middle school. That's the grade. Remember, when we first came, we put 5th grade back at Eastwood. That's a transition year. So we got to do a better job in helping our students with the transition. But as you can see in 7th grade, we're steadily rising. And in 8th grade, we're steadily rising. High school, you see the increases in high school from 34 all the way to 52. So those 9th grade this year, we're going to have a 9th grade academy. So we hope to see some better scores, increased scores in 9th grade. And then English too, again, we're growing. Our concern is science. We dropped in science in the 5th and 8th grade. We had the same formula in 5th grade. We'll see this year and come back. The teacher is outstanding, do hands-on work, very engaging. So we'll just go back to the board on that. In 8th grade, we have a new teacher teaching science this year. So we'll see. We hope that we'll see some increased scores. And then we have a very solid high school science, biology group who are continuing to grow our students. One of our best departments in our school is in our district is social studies. They have taken the bull by its horns and they're consistently getting high scores. This year, more kids took U.S. history than government, actually. So they did an outstanding job in U.S. government, increasing almost 30% in 1 year. And then the end of the course retakes is where a student takes an exam, and then they retake it. So they would give you an indicator if those on the retakes get 25.7. So, over 25%. So we achieved the 25%. So we went from 0 indicators to 2. We have 2 indicators now. The first one is chronic absenteeism. So we reduced that in the district, chronic absenteeism. And then we met the end of the course exam. So this is and I'll send all this to the board, but this is just the data growth over the years. But I'll send it out to everybody so everyone can have it.
Okay, thank you.
So that is the data. I will share this at the convocation for everyone. Again, I don't like to release it unless I know it's going to be stable. It's not going to change. We did have a situation where we discovered something late and we reported it. And it actually lowered our scores, but we wanted to make sure that the scores were accurate. So these are the scores. As you can see, we've made tremendous gains in the district. We are praying and hoping that the value added comes back. If the value added comes back right, it's a possibility that a C is in trajectory of the district. I'm not going to say we're there, but if the value added comes back, hopefully, like we anticipate, we have I don't want to say a strong possibility, but I just want to say it'll be close to achieving this seat. I'm open to any questions anyone might have about the data. Yes, ma'am.
Just a comment. Well, actually, I do have a question. So, when it comes to John Dewey making the great strides that it did, in your opinion, what was the biggest contributor?
So, I mean, I think the principal is a very hands-on, teacher-driven principal with high expectations who works very well with her team. The teachers there are phenomenal. They work together. The kindergarten team is phenomenal. Mrs. Pleasant is the team leader, and she is a great role model for the others, and they all have kind of adopted her model of instruction. I think the pre-K has worked very hard to work as one. They are under the guise of the county, which has changed the standards and raised the bar, which has resulted in the kids coming to kindergarten better prepared. I think the consistency in teachers, principals, has contributed to a better preparation for our students getting to John Dewey. And then that is being reflective as the kids are matriculating through the district. Because as you can see, the kids have been with us since kindergarten, they're up to 3rd, 4th grade now. You see how the scores are spiking with these kids with this solid foundation. There are some instructional pieces that are solid there. We're doing something called foundations, which for everybody is phonetics. Same way we were taught how to read.
Right.
The kids at John Dewey are being taught the same way, which is very important, that the kids are learning the fundamentals of reading. So I think the combination of leadership, the outstanding teachers working collaboratively as teams, the improvement of the pre-K, I think the curriculum that we've purchased and the teachers actually implementing the curriculum with high fidelity, the outreach to parents and the parental support that is present there has resulted in a better product at John Dewey. And a better product John Dewey transcends is coming up throughout our school district.
Because that was the question I had about the 4th grade. What caused that spike? So that answers it.
I mean, they spent 2 years with Vine and Eastwood, so I mean, all of these teams, and what I am very proud of with our teachers is that, especially in lower grades, you see the team working together, going above and beyond the call of duty. I know the contract exists, but they're willing to do more than the contract to ensure that the kids are learning. And I'm not in a negative way. I'm saying they care. They want the kids to read. They want them to be successful. So you see it. I mean, in any walkthrough or any, like when the state came through, you can see it. I know we still got room to grow. We still have areas that are not as good as others, but I think the whole culture has been student driven, and the result is the students are better prepared.
I have one more question and then a comment, and then I'm done. I wanted the same question, but when it comes to the chronic absenteeism, would you say the fact that we had Mr. Alexander?
Yeah, so Mr. Alexander is a stickler, holds the meetings, he's very aggressive. So I do think his presence helps the situation. But I also think that if kids like school, they come. Plain and simple. If it's a great place to be, they come. If it's not, they don't. So I think as we improved our product, kids come to school. Especially in high school when you have activities and programming. I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but I truly do, that when kids are engaged, they come. So I think better engagement. I think Mr. Alexander is very important because if they're missing days, he's checking up and following up and making sure they're doing and they're holding those meetings, which there's an accountability that was never there before. It's resulting in better numbers with absenteeism and tardiness.
Okay, all right, and then just a final comment, echoing what Tracy said, kudos to you guys for doing just a phenomenal job in raising the bar every year for the district. But if I can, I'd also like to just say to the board that I think that we're doing a good job also. And the reason I say that, not because we're in there doing the teaching and stuff, but part of what we're supposed to do is to give Mr. Jolly guidance. And we also need to give him the room to do what he needs to do without a lot of micromanaging. And I think that this board team, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that this board team takes pride in knowing that we've hired someone, two people, to do their job, and we're letting them do that. And I think that in the past, that has been part of the problem with the district, was the board trying to run the district instead of allowing the people to run it. So kudos to the board, kudos to you guys, and I'm looking forward to the next school year. Thank you.
Superintendent Jolly, as far as the value added, when will you get that final score? I know you can,
First week in September, so that, there's no way we can predict what that score gonna be, but we do know it's a 3-year score. We do know that first year, where all those low scores are dropping off. So those scores are getting wiped away. And then these 3 years of growth will be the score. So without knowing any computation, we know it won't be a D because the first year pulled us down. We hope it's not a C because we've shown, we went from a 52.8 PI to a 67.9. So we've demonstrated the growth that the measure measures. We just hope it's enough growth to get us to a B or an A on that measure, which then will propel the district total overall to a C.
also, like you indicated, with all the different schools, I see the pride in the principals and their staff, and that's good, and I want to commend Ms. Barnes. I know she works hard on that. As far as the algebra in the high school, will Ms. Ray put emphasis on that as far as algebra?
Right, so I did charge the curriculum team to come up with a math plan to provide support to the math department in middle and high school, so that I will have that plan probably by next week. But I charged them to show, to differentiate their support on the math department. How are they going to support them? How are they going to make sure the teachers have the resources? So that is the charge of the math department, is to show how they're going to support the math department, because that is our area of concern. Really 6 to 12. It's just not the algebra. It's just the whole literacy of math in the district. Math is a hard subject for people who don't like math. So we got to figure out how to get students to like math to improve our standing in math.
And the last question, as far as testing, do you see it's easier? I know in 2015, and me and you have talked, and it was hard for our scholars to pick that up and cut and paste and move things. You see it more flowing now with the...
Yes, so to mimic what Ms. Gator said, the board and the board of law supporting the work, the board is supporting the purchase of Chromebooks for the entire district, has resulted in our kids being computer literate because they're using them every single day. So they know how to use the computer. So the computer is not a barrier on the test as it was in 15 when they first took the test. The board and their investment, I'll tell you, 2 key investments the board made is the air conditioning too. Very key investment in John Dewey, Eastwood, and Westwood, because you lose a lot of educational time when you're hot and you're burning up, and that's at least 2 months of the year. You leave in August, early September, and then you get into May. It's hot, and kids don't learn. And I say that to say, that, when you talk about, and all the gains and credit goes to the board, because the board has supported us in this process, has allowed us to do the work, has guided us in the right direction. But making those key investments have resulted in the results. I mean, no one would think an air conditioner would matter that much, but it really does to a kindergartner who is burning up, or a first grader who's hot in the class, whose natural inclination is to go to sleep. So those investments have been tremendous for us.
I want to thank you, and thank you too, Dr. Rock, for doing and putting this together. We see improvement, so Thank you. I'm done, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
My biggest pet peeve and has always been the 7th and 8th graders. And I'm seeing how great work we doing in that lower level. And then when we get to the 7th, 8th grade, we tends to fall off. And I'm thinking that it's mostly discipline. And what support, what do you have in place for the beginning of the year? So at the middle of the school year, we don't have the same problem. So what do you have right now that when school start next week, we shouldn't have a lot of discipline problems?
So, I want to say, when you say there's a lot of discipline at the middle school, are the discipline, or is it hormones and changes and?
What is it?
Yeah.
Right, it is a special age.
So, my observations of the middle school is a change in hormones and kids figuring out who they are. You know, we have a lot of situations that don't have nothing to do with school that interferes with the children learning at the levels they should. So the board's investment in a social worker has
Okay.
been very important at the middle school. The work of Applewood and Beachbrook has been important there. The guidance counselor has played an important role. We got College Now there, who is doing college programs, so projecting to the future and things like that. It's important there. The Y partnership that we have with the YMCA after-school program has been important there. The Adrenaline Monkey after-school program has been important there. So then we got a lot of things in place. But again, that age group, so it's a combination. It's the age group, and then that group is coming in with some deficiencies from the past that we got to catch up. So this group coming from 4th grade, we shouldn't have the academic issues
Right.
because they've been addressed.
Right.
But there's another group that, you know, during the periods that we're in elementary school in 13 and 14, when our scores weren't good, we'll have some clear deficiencies in gaps in education. So I think what we're seeing is us try to catch up the gaps
Okay.
while still dealing with the change in the hormones and age group, but trying to provide all this support, you know, so the guidance counselor, the social worker, you know, all these activities, so they're in the band, we're expanding the sports activity, we're trying to get them engaged. And the parent engagement have to continue to improve too, because we found a lot of just some very disturbing situations there of parent challenges that hinder success too. So I think that combination, I think we got things in place. Of course, we can do more,
Okay.
but there's a lot in place to address the issues. But we got to do better because the scores are not where they should be. I hope I answered it. Honestly,
And I'm gonna pick it back off the other members. I think your team does a fantastic job. I'm very proud to be a part of it as we see so much growth and so much opportunity for our children that I'm just gonna say thank you. And thank to the staff for investing in the future of our children.
again, like the board, we came to you guys, said we need social workers, we need this, and you guys have supported us 100%. So those are things that, none of this works without your support. None of it, so we appreciate it.
I think a lot of it comes in, Mr. Jolly, from the fact that you present the information to us in such a way that helps us understand the need. And to Mimi's earlier point, we work diligently not to micromanage because this is not the work that we do, it's the work that you and your team do.
Right.
And again, to Pam, your leadership has been critical, and we do appreciate it. We share it, but I would just want to say it again publicly. So kudos to you, the team, the district, and it's not just, it's the whole team, down to your team, Kenya, with the hiring. So it's an all-in effect as we continue to work to reach new heights.
And I just want to add, because I have not mentioned the support staff, the OT members, the bus drivers, the instructional aides, everybody is one. And Ms. Henderson leadership and bus drivers and security guards, everybody has been, I don't say everybody, but the majority of the people have been working as one team. And that's the theme of our convocation is team, one team, working together. And we've seen those games. We couldn't do anything without bus drivers picking the kids up on time. We couldn't do anything without our instructional aides doing what they need to do. We couldn't do anything without our food service, our custodian staff. All those people contribute to this because we couldn't get it nothing done without them.
Right.
So we appreciate all of them. And I want to publicly acknowledge them because oftentimes when we talk about academics, we forget them. And I don't want to forget them because they're very important too. They all called off. We wouldn't be out of school.
That's right.
So we need them.
That's right. Well, thank you again for a great update. Board, thank you for your comments and questions. We'll move on to our agenda.
I have one more question, I'm sorry. One more thing I wanted to inform the board. Last thing is that, as everyone knows, the city did approach us about possibly partnering with them on a municipal center. I want to inform the board that I'm going to seek a consultant to help us determine what's the best direction for the school board, analyzing analyzing our current building situation, analyzing the proposal from the city, analyzing if we remain in our own building, so that I can come to the board with great information so that the board can have some information to make a decision. Well, we anticipate the city probably will be coming to us relatively soon. Dr. Rock and myself have attempted to look at it, but we need a little more expertise at the table just to project out the cost to look at the best use of the three buildings, because this time is going real fast. That building, you can see almost one wall is up already before we snap our fingers. The whole thing gonna be up. So, and then we got three buildings that we haven't talked about or made a decision about. So, and the board, I mean, we got the board too that we have to make a decision about also. I mean, the condition of the board is not good, you know, people, it's not. And we I would say it's rodent infested, it has a lot of issues. So we you know, it's almost at the end of its life. So
It's hit the end of its life.
yeah, it's at the end of its life, so we have to.
1927?
You know, so I wanted to inform the board, I will seek the information, seek a consultant to help me. As long, you know, if it reaches the threshold where I need to come, I will come to you. But I want to have the information as soon as possible so that when the city comes to you guys, that you have enough information to make the best decision for the district.
Thank you. Thank you. We'd like to move on our agenda to item 2. We're going to do some voting that we need to do. It's typical at the beginning of the school year. Items 2.1 and 2.2 address the nows. 2.3 through 2.13 addresses employment, which is totally normal this time of the school year. Right. And then 2.14 is, the need for some equipment. So if I could have a motion on the floor to approve by consent agenda items 2.1 through 2.14.
Madam Chair, is this a full consent for all those items, or are you doing them separately?
No, it's consent agenda.
Oh, okay. I heard you read it. I heard you.
I just gave an overview.
No
of
problem.
what they were.
Madam Chair, I move consent emergency voting for 2.1 to 2.14.
May I have a second? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Board, is there any discussion?
I have one question. The majority of the teachers that we are in the process of hiring, are they experienced teachers? Are they new teachers?
Majority are experienced.
Okay. Okay.
And this year we lost teachers moving, marriages, moving out of state. When you have a young staff, they get married and move. So we had a lot of people get married and moving. So They all said they enjoyed the district, but then they moved to St. Louis, or they moved to Columbus, or they moved somewhere. So that is the reason for a lot of these replacements for people who have moved away. The copier 2.14, Dr. Rock, and I want to give a lot of credit to Jeanette Littlejohn, did a lot of research on this, and we believe we'll save almost $240,000 in 5 years just changing this copier contract. So a lot of work went into that. But most all of these are replacements. I also want to announce that our new vans will be here this week too. They're very, you really gonna like them, so they can come in soon.
And that'll provide operational savings for us also.
Right, because we're paying vendors to do these 2 routes. So we're pulling these routes in, and these routes will be ran by us. And so instead of paying $100,000 for a route, we'll be paying $30,000 for the routes. So, because we're doing it ourselves, then also the vans allow us to
Be utilized by other
utilize for sports. So a coach could drive like cross-country team. And you see this with a lot of high schools. You see the coach drive the kids to the event. We have that capability now, where we don't have to take a 50-passenger bus to transport 3 people, which we do now. Wasted gas, wasted expenses. So these vans also, you know, if the board need to go out of town or something, these vans will be available. You can travel in those vans. So they're brand new, and I think it's a great investment. The van we had before, it was at least 20 years. It seemed like it was 20 years old, but it's rusted out, or everything's rusted out, and it don't even run. So it allows us, and we have a wheelchair accessible. It's wheelchair accessible. So we got a lot of flexibility with these vans to save money, but also give the district more latitude to do things that we can save money on also.
Any other questions?
Just real quick, as far as the routes are concerned, so are these routes like for special needs students, or is it going like to Lutheran needs and places like that?
They're all special needs students.
Okay.
So based upon the IEPs, they're door to door. So many, we have to contract them out. So now we could do it ourselves instead of paying them.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Rock, for the assistant to the treasurer, how many people did you interview for that position?
3.
3.
Just so you guys know, I have requested copies of the job description for the assistant to the treasurer as well as the assistant treasurer. So I don't know how this works, but I did see where the assistant to the treasurer position stated that you have to have a bachelor's degree. And then it might have been a typo, but it said accounting experience. It didn't say and/or accounting experience. So I don't know what criteria we used for the position, but I'd kind of like to ask HR, Mr. Jolly, whoever, to take a look at those job descriptions. I'm sure this is probably even more so for you, to make sure that the job descriptions are matching what we're posting. And correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe there are times when you go, do something a little different from the job description.
I think there's a typo in the job description. Like the line goes off. You could tell the sentence, and usually in that sentence at that level of position we have, it's a bachelor's degree or substantial work experience.
But it doesn't read like that.
So I guess what I'm hearing is we need to take a look at our current job descriptions.
And just make an
and
edit.
make sure that they are up to par and up to speed with what we are looking to bring on board with new hires.
Yeah, we probably need to look at all of them because they were done. When were they done? They were done.
2006 is the ones that I
Yeah,
looked at today.
we haven't redone them.
Yeah.
I mean, we've added to it, but we haven't looked at the whole set and redone them. So I think that's a project that we could take on to make sure that they're done. I can't give a date now when we haven't completed, but that's something we'll talk about because I agree we need to have everything accurate.
Right.
But when we posted, we did say, or substantial work experience.
Oh, okay, and she has the substantial work experience?
15 years.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, thank you. Well, I just asked the question because of the job description that I read, so I didn't know what qualification did she really have. Okay.
Yes, it's 15 years of substantial experience working in the treasurer's office.
And I do want to say one thing to the board. One of the things I heard in the district when I came is that there was no room for growth. Everyone was saying, y'all don't ever hire Warrensville people, everybody going outside. So I want to say that we made a conscious effort since I've been here to look internally when there's openings. And, you know, we've hired internal people that qualify. Transportation is an example, hiring an internal person. We building facilities and grounds, hiring an internal person. Even in academics with Ms. Shaw, she was an internal person that was elevated. So we tried, and you know, and we want to look at our teachers and try to put our teachers in leadership roles. Because the goal, and I say this, my goal is that the systems we put in place will be here beyond me and everyone here. So if we hire internal people who are bought into what we're doing, then what we're doing will remain once we go. If we bring in a lot of outside, you know, it changes with the wind. So the goal is to try to groom our own so that when these positions open, if they're qualified, then and they interview well, the team pick them, they get it. And I think we made that effort so that no one can say, oh, y'all always gonna go get somebody from the outside, because that hasn't happened. It's happened, but not for, you know, when a qualified person here, they get it. And I've seen that they've worked well and done a great job because they know the departments, they know the people, and they know the job. So we've given, I'm very happy that people are willing to step up to, because this is coming out unions that most people don't like to do.
So thank you, Mimi, because that was a good question. I did see that. I did see the date, so definitely a project. But I think one thing we also want to remember is when we task our managers to work with the folks to do the interviews and pick the right candidate, that they are definitely picking the most qualified before those names come on this agenda, because that's what they do. Our role is to make sure that the job descriptions are up to speed, and we have to trust that they've made the right decisions to bring those names to the agenda for us to vote on.
Correct.
So I just want to make sure that we understand that. So if there's no other,
Are you saying I shouldn't have asked for it?
I know, I said that was a good question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'll say it again. That was
I
a
did
good-
hear
yeah,
that, but
yeah.
comments come from you, so thank you.
So if there's no further comments, Dr. Rock, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 4-0. This evening, we don't have anything on the agenda for Section 3, school board conferences, conventions, and workshops, but we do have items in Section 4 policies. We are at item 4.1, policy volume 37, number 1. So Mimi, I'm going to hand the mic over to you and Mr. Jolly, so you all can walk us through the next two.
Okay.
Quick question, Madam Chair. Is this our first reading of these?
This is the second.
Second reading for
Second.
37-1.
Okay, all right. It said first, number 2 of the first. Okay. First reading.
Oh, okay, all right. So for 37-1, we did the first reading on it. We did not go through all of the policies collectively, but asked that everybody just kind of take a minute to take a look at it. So I did meet with Mr. Jolly and Dr. Ruck, and Kenya was here for some of it earlier this week. So there was one thing I wanted to point out to the board, and that's on 0164, notice of meetings. The way it reads, it says, a schedule of the time and place of all or each regular meeting shall be posted annually on the district website, published in the official news, and posted at the district office, and then it lists each school, Tri-City, library. So the question is this, we also email. We do quite a bit of email of our agendas, and it doesn't state email anywhere. So I'm wondering if we should reword it, or what are your thoughts about that? To include email, because like, for instance, Councilman Howard asks to be emailed individually. But I don't think we literally take and post them there. We email them to the individual places, correct, Dr. Ryan?
Yes.
So your thoughts?
Is this a bylaw or?
It's one of our bylaws, yes, 0164 notice of meeting.
I know, but is the state requesting it or is it just us to change it? Is the state?
Just in the policy
Oh, it's
that
just
way.
within, yeah. Are you asking if it's one of those that?
Correct.
That the state is, yeah, they've made some changes to it, but not that portion of it. Not in how it's
I got you.
disseminated. So it's just a question, I thought I would put it out there since this is one that pertains to us directly. Do you want to leave it the way it is?
I think adding email would be good, because we do the bulk of our notifications via email. And I know they also use snail mail as well, and it is also on the website.
Okay.
So just
Is
in
Joe-
that list
is-
where,
I'm
in the
sorry.
list where it, says and.
Posted annually on the district website, published in the
plug.
newspaper, emailed and posted?
Mhm.
Okay.
Go ahead,
No, I was just.
But you just talking
Hold,
about.
hold on.
Oh,
Ray
hold
has the
on.
floor.
No, I just was questioning, what was Joe's, from Neola?
Oh,
Oh.
I didn't ask him about this because,
I got you.
this is the way that we do it, so I don't think that this is anything that's mandated by the state in terms of how it's posted, and if we choose to email it to individuals too, then I think it's okay.
So please, you want me to add email
Add email, please, yeah.
on A?
Yes,
Actually, I can go in here and add it right now. I
Is
got
that on
edited
all
too
meetings,
on
Mimi,
here.
or just
I'm
the
about to
regular?
do
And
it
that's
right now.
only for the meetings, right?
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
just,
All?
yes, notice it says for any meetings that we have to
All
post,
meetings,
yeah.
right, all
So-
meetings.
Yes.
So you need to do them all.
It should say, a
Special.
schedule, time, and place of all regular meetings shall be posted and emailed.
Shall be posted annually on the district website, comma, published in the newspaper, I would say, comma, email, and posted in the district office. Or sent electronically, something like that, yeah.
Sent electronically.
You could say posted annually or sent electronically.
All right, so I got posted annually on the district website, published in the official newspaper or papers, sent electronically, and posted at the district office and at each school.
All right, and before we get off of that one, the other thing I'd like to point out is under C. It says notice of meetings, blah, 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 shall be sent to all persons requesting such notice, and we've checked, provided that the person supplies the board with stamped addressed envelopes for the purpose, but we also email, so, or their email address. Yeah.
Or provided such person by the board with staff address. Or that's done.
All right, and then the other thing I wanted to point out is under 3122, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity. We discussed this, Mr. Jolly, and I think Dr. Rock was there too. It says Kenya and Tasha,
3120.
3122, but from what I understand, it should be a male and a female,
Yep.
and so it should say Chief Petey, I think is the way the other one's read. So I
Yep.
just want to make sure we get that caught as
Yeah,
well.
it should be a male and female because I'm changing it right now.
Okay.
Hold on.
For 3122, Mr. Jolly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, 4122 was fine. I think it was just a typo
Oh, okay.
or an oversight.
Keith, Ms. Hunt, you have his office number.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's 336-6577 is what's listed under 4122. Does that sound right?
yeah, hold on, give me 1 second. Correct me. 336.
Oh, yeah, 6577. And then the last thing I just kind of wanted to point out was, well, a couple of things I wanted to point out, just to make sure that the board thoroughly goes over 0141.2, which deals with the conflict of interest. It kind of points out on page 2, some things that I think that we kind of experienced.
Wait, you said which, I'm sorry, maybe, which number?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, 141.2, conflict of interest.
0141.2. deals with
Repeat that
conflict.
again?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, there it is up
011?
top.
41.2.
41.2, okay.
Yep, and it talks about conflict of interest and board members. There's a couple of them that I feel we have, there's a couple that we probably need to make sure that as a board, we are up to speed on. I would take a look at item M, N, and then even that last paragraph.
M and
There's
N?
no changes that I'm recommending to be made to it. I just want everyone to be aware of it. And then,
And M is pertaining to a board member?
all of that under 0141 talks about conflicts of interest that board members are forbidden. And it
Right.
really
Right.
Yeah.
No.
so-
Can you read them?
Sure,
M, yeah, or whatever.
sure, I'll read them.
Because I didn't bring my copy
Yep.
this time, so I
I
thought it
know
was
it.
second
So-
reading.
E is one, it says, among the conflicts which law specifically forbids a board member from accepting a reward, gift, or reduction in price for favoring, recommending, or advocating the introduction, adoption, or use in the school of a textbook, map, chart, or any other school supply. So only reason why I kind of highlighted that one is because when we go to these conferences, you always have people that want to give you gifts, come do this, come do that. And whether they're saying it or not, at the end of the day, we know that that's what they're really wanting us to do. So just be mindful of that when they're, enticing us to come with a coffee mug or, anyway. And then M, it says it forbids a board member from having an interest in the profits or benefits of a public contract entered into the district with which he or she is connected. So this might be a question for the attorney, if it ever comes up again, but does that include use of facilities? You're signing a contract, so if your event is raising money,
Correct.
that could potentially be a conflict of interest, so.
So a board member should not be a part of or sponsor any event that you're getting money for.
It's the way it reads.
That's the way it read, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So I just want everyone to, my antennas went up. And then, so item N, this is another one. It
Relative.
forbids a board member, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It
That's
forbids a
N?
board member from
N.
using the authority or
Okay.
influence of office to secure anything of value or the promise of anything of value to the board member, from soliciting or accepting anything of value that is of such a character as to manifest an improper and substantial influence, upon the board member with respect to his or her duties. In translation, you are a board member.
Right.
Anytime you approach somebody and say, can you, can I, they are going to see you as a board member and say, sure. So just be mindful of that as well. So I thought that that one was an interesting policy to kind of review over.
So
Yes,
may I
ma'am.
ask a favor, Dr. Rock, as you note that is this portion of discussion in the minutes, can you do me a favor? Can you call out that we're asking the board members to pay close attention to E, M, N?
And N.
And N.
I said E, M, N, and the last paragraph on that particular policy, so that it is duly called out in our meeting minutes, please.
Yes.
Just so that it is fully in public record and writing and both on the YouTube. Thank you,
Yes.
sir. And thank you for bringing that out, maybe.
Yeah, no problem. Another one that I'd kind of like to bring to the board's attention is the one on due process rights.
What number is that?
This one here is 5611. The only reason why I want to bring this one out, as I review policies, I'm thinking about some of the things that have happened over the last school year, trying to decide whether or not there's anything that needs to be changed. Well, there's really nothing that needs to be changed. It's just board members need to know what the due process rights are and what happens when that student has a suspension and the parent says, I want to meet with the board, or what, they have an expulsion and they say, I want to meet with the board. We have to know what the next step is, because in most cases, it's not to meet with the board. So all it does is create a lot of frustration for the parent.
Right.
Because they're thinking that they're gonna meet with us. So, I think that this is a good one for us to review. Yes, ma'am?
I just want to make sure that's called out in the
Okay.
notes, the meeting
Yeah.
minutes as well, please.
Yes.
And I would imagine, Mr. Jolly, that when you guys are doing your hearings and giving due process, that this information is it handed to the
It's part of the
parents?
hearing.
It's
Part of the handbook,
So
isn't
they
it?
get this.
Yeah, it's
Right,
part
it's
of
part
the
of the
handbook
handbook.
in here. So they get both.
Okay.
Handbook, which everyone get next week, has the
Right.
process in it. And then
Okay,
part of the
all
hearing.
right.
And Connie do explain it to them too.
Okay,
This is
yeah,
what happened.
I'm
You
sure
can
she
appeal it.
All right, and then the last thing is termination and resignation. So,
What number is that?
this is 1541.
4140.
I got it. I got it.
Yep, 3140. So here's the thing. Again, thinking back on some of the things that have happened over the last year. You have instances that come up where something happens with the employee, and they are given a choice. You can either resign, or we have to fire you. And I've heard comments, why are you forcing someone out of their job? It's a board policy that states, what's this one I want to read? Hold on, here it is. It is the policy of the board that classified staff who are not going to be rehired be given an opportunity to resign. So this is, I'm sorry, 4140, and it deals with classified staff. And I think this is where we get, some pushback sometimes, is we're forcing people to resign. We're not forcing them, we're going by policy,
So, right, you're right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
are we getting pushback from,
Well, I've heard comments
From
from board members.
board- that's what I'm-
Yes, yes.
board members or,
Or even staff.
Okay.
That have, felt some kind of way,
That-
feeling like we're forcing them.
just following our
Yeah.
policies?
That the school board is forcing them,
Administration.
Administration.
okay,
District
let's say
administration.
that.
I'm sorry.
Let's say that, because the school board
No, but it is our policy.
Right.
So.
don't. Right.
So, to a certain degree, ultimately, so anyhow, I just wanted to point that out to you guys. 1 final one, and I promise this is it. Anti-harassment. So, there's several different policies on anti-harassment. The first one that I have here is 1662. So we've got policies that speak to harassment against classified administrators. But what happens, and I'm not sure that these policies speak to that, when the person that is doing the harassing is a school board member?
So, I looked into that when we had an issue
Okay.
3 years ago, and I don't remember if it's 4362 or 5517. It speaks to it, but it's very high level, so we probably may want to pull those out and look at them again.
Okay.
So my ask would be, if we go ahead and approve 37-1 tonight,
Yeah.
we will approve it with the caveat that we will go back in and we're going to review 1662, 3362, 4362, and 5517. Because all of those deal with anti-harassment, because when we had the issue before, we went through all four of those with the attorney to figure out just where we were when.
Okay, all right, because it doesn't spell it out, and I wasn't sure if they look at it as an administrator, the wording for administrator, so.
I think it needs to be stronger, especially since overuse of board members' powers is one of the defenses. I don't remember which one it is. So I think we should make sure that Ohio Revised Code does deal with it. There's a mal, miss, and a non-feasance.
Okay.
One of those feasances is an abuse of power. I just don't remember which ORC, which one is which.
3310, 17 or something?
So we can, so maybe we can, I
It's
would,
3310.
I would definitely say we can go ahead and approve these policies, because I'm not recommending any changes.
Right,
asking
just
for
review.
clarification.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was all I had for 37-1. And I would like for us to go ahead and approve 37-1. And I'd also like to ask if the board has had the opportunity to review 37-2. It was sent to you, you should have received it in a package. So because we're running behind with these policies, and there were very few changes, most of them were repeats from 37-1. So I would like to ask if we could go ahead and adopt with just the first reading, 37-2, right? Yeah, 37-2. Do that like an emergency type situation, adopt 37-2, and then go ahead and do the final reading for 37-1, and then we'll be caught up with policies.
If everybody's okay with that,
I
we'll
am.
put two separate motions on the floor. We'll put the first, we need a motion first for 37-1, because we are at second reading, so that we can get it approved with the caveat that we'll go back and look at those five.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, yeah, 5, 4. So if I can have a motion for us to approve policy volume 37, number 1.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we accept item 4.1, policy volume 37.1, with the caveat that we take another look at all policies that are pertaining to anti-harassment.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, vote passes 4-0. Second one is policy number 44.2, volume 37, number 2. And for this one, we are asking for a motion on the floor to approve by emergency vote this particular item. So if I can have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the added agenda item 4.2, volume 37.2, which is an emergency voting to approve all of these policies with one reading.
Have a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any additional discussion on 37, number 2? If none, Dr. Rock, can you please?
I do
call?
have one question real quick. Superintendent Jolly, on the 7544 for parent authorization, not that one. Where is it at? It was pertaining to use of social media, 7544.
Yeah.
Do we have that in our handbook, or could we address it?
I believe it was in the hand.
Yes, and
in the
the
handbook.
county executive director.
Okay, I didn't see it. Okay, that's it. Go ahead.
Any further questions? If not, Dr. Rockaway, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 4-0. We have come to the conclusion of our meeting. Wanted to ask Dr. Rock, do we have any correspondence?
No, we do not.
Don't. Mr. Jolly, I'm going to leave the beginning of the school year announcements to you. Got quite a bit going on.
Yeah, so, the public convocation will be Friday, 8 o'clock here at the high school. Our speaker for this year's convocation will be Dr. Michelle Scott Taylor. She is a 1993 graduate of Warrensville Heights High School, who is a vice president at college now. We also plan to serve lunch to the staff, so any board member, anyone wants to come help us cook, we'll be cooking all morning for the staff.
Cook or
Yeah,
serve?
we're gonna be hot dogs.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So yeah, we'll be on the grills for our staff and teachers. Also, next week's Blue and Gold Academy, so that is our district-wide professional development. Be here at the high school Monday and Tuesday, and the official first day of school is Wednesday. So grades 1 to 12 will start on Wednesday. I'm asking any board member would like to come greet students. I'll be at the high school to start the day off and go to the middle school and visit all the schools just to make sure we have a great start. Open house is the week of August 26th. John Dewey is on the 26th. Eastwood and Westwood is on the 27th. Middle school is on the 28th, and the high school is on the 29th. Another important day is September 20th. Ms. Gator has worked with me and others on our awards committee. We will have a district awards program on the 20th. It is a professional day. We hope to have some great awards for staff members and also recognize people throughout the district. Our first home football game is also on September 20th. Here.
September the 20th?
September 20th here.
Wow, the first
First home game, they got 3 others, I think.
Gotcha.
Homecoming is on the 27th, September 27th.
Oh, wow.
We're gone again.
Be gone.
Yeah.
Who's going? You guys?
Oh, yeah, you're not going.
Not going to Q?
I'm not going.
Yeah,
I'll
so
be here.
September 27th is homecoming. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I tried to, but it's all set already.
I'll be here.
So those are important dates coming up. Open house, convocation, first day of school. So this is gonna be the best year ever. Also, announcement of the store. So we're working to keep the store down. So I recently got all the utilities cut off. So all the utilities cut off. So now that the next process can start. So I informed the architects today that all the utilities are done. So now the process, I think, Affinity will bid out who's gonna tear it down, and then we should see some action. Our goal is to have it down by Labor Day. That's the goal.
Okay.
Awesome.
And our indications is the building is going up as scheduled, maybe a little faster, because we had great weather the last month. So the great weather has resulted in increased work. So it's exciting, very exciting time.
Superintendent, quick 2 questions. Do we know who the senior advisor is for our scholars this year?
No, I do not know who the senior advisor is.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll know next week.
And for the 2018 scholars, they're having a graduation, 2 of them? When is that?
Oh, so yeah, we had 2 summer graduates this
Right.
year. I do not know exact date on those 2 summer graduation.
Oh, okay.
But we had 2 graduate this summer. And we will debut our Aurora Academy, which is our academy for students who are non-traditional.
Right.
So on this agenda, they hired the aide, we hired a teacher. So that will debut, I think, on August 26th. So we're gonna let school start. They identify some students, but they're gonna have individual conferences with each student and parent, make sure they're on board, and then we'll start on the 26th. So we hope that the Aurora Academy, we know the Warren Academy is going to be successful because those non-traditional students who don't come to school or have jobs, we have an option for them now in the district.
Oh, fantastic.
That's excellent. So it looks like we're off to a great school year, great start.
Fantastic start.
Fantastic start, thank you, ma'am. I want to thank everybody for hanging in with us this evening. I think it was a good meeting team, so thank you guys for good participation, good questions. Congratulations again, Mr. Jolly, to you and the entire school district team for an amazing job bringing our scholars up to par. So without further ado, if I can have a motion on the floor for us to adjourn this evening's meeting.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting for August the 7th, 2019, work session.
May I have a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Dr. Rock, can you please call the
Mrs.
roll?
Newman? Mrs. Newman?
Yes.
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes. Meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.